Hello, football fans. Well, week 15 was crazy, wasn't it? Well, it's a good time for fantasy football people because in some cases it's the end of regular season, and in some other leagues it's the start of playoffs, the extended 3 round playoffs for some leagues. But as far as the actual action, it got started with 63 points. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. The Raiders, who couldn't outscore a field goal, scored 63 against the Chargers, and that ended up being the last straw. They finally fired Brandon Staley. Took them long enough, but they did. Um, so the Raiders stayed alive for another week, while the Chargers actually could have been eliminated this past week. The only thing that saved them was Jacksonville losing. Jacksonville got trashed on Sunday Night Football. First Sunday Night Football game in 15 years, and it saw bad plays, bad play calls, and Trevor Lawrence concussed, but still out there. So, the Ravens won, and as a result of that and everything else that happened in the week, the Baltimore Ravens became the first AFC team this year to clinch a playoff spot. And speaking of the AFC, the Steelers. Oh man, you know, I don't like what's happening with the Steelers. I really don't. It looks very bad. It looks very bad. First off, they lose back-to-back games to two of the worst teams in the league, and they went out there in Indy and completely shit the bed. It was awful, and they were up 13-0. They were up 13-0, and they stopped playing all of a sudden. 30 unanswered points for the Colts, and now the Steelers are in big trouble. I mean big trouble. A lot of people are saying Tomlin's winning record streak could end this year. Now, there was a threat. It looked like it was going to end last year, but they managed to get that ninth win. But I don't know. This team doesn't look good enough to get 9 wins. This team may not be good enough to win another game the rest of the year. It is awful what is happening to the Steelers. It's just they're not that far out, but it seems like they are. Elsewhere, oh yes, elsewhere in the AFC. I'll stay in the AFC for this. So the Bills again. What is it with this team? They're the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team. We've seen them lose to teams like the Broncos, the Bengals, and the Jets, 3 flawed franchises. Yet they beat the Chiefs and they beat down Dallas. I don't know what it is. I guess real teams are like spinach to Popeye with them. When they see a real team, they turn up and just beat them up. But when they play the bad teams, they just ugh. But the Bills won, and there's they're staying alive. They're doing very well. And where was I? Oh yeah, the I'll go to the NFC for this because I have to talk about the Packers. What the hell were we doing? I left that loss completely down. Well, not completely down, but it was just awful. The defensive performance was awful. Jordan Love did everything to keep us in it, and the defense was just getting away wide open plays like it was nothing. We made Baker Mayfield look good. So good, in fact, that he made history. He became the first visiting quarterback to have a perfect quarterback rating at Lambeau. 158.3 is the perfect rating. He had that. Baker Mayfield now, no, don't get me wrong. I've always been like a staunch Baker Mayfield defender and supporter. People say he sucks, and some of the evidence is there, but I've always said he's not as bad as people say he is. This game proved me right. He's not as bad as people say he is. He's supposed to be, but he does shit like this. And because of that, we find ourselves we're not well, we're not way behind. It seems like we are, but we're really not. We're one game out, but I think we. How's that go? The Rams won. They moved past the playoff line. And the crazy thing was, before the Rams won, the Saints were above the playoff line. That's right. Two teams in the NFC South were actually above ground. But the Rams won. They moved up. And unfortunately, Seattle won that Monday game. Philly completely blew it. I don't know what's wrong with the Eagles. They've lost 3 in a row now. They've lost 3 in a row. Even worse, 2 to 3 with the teams in that number one seed cluster, the Niners and the Cowboys. They lost this one to a Seahawks team that's scratching and clawing for a wild card berth. This is not good. What's happening with the Eagles is not good. They are in serious trouble. Uh, they are in serious trouble. They are in the number 5 spot, be a tiebreaker because Dallas has a better division record. And I read they said if both teams went out, it could come down to straight to victory. That's gonna be a headache. But yeah. So and when the Vikings lost, that made things a little bit better. Cincinnati took care of the Vikings in overtime on Saturday. But I don't know. As far as the Packers, there's still hope. But now I need to hope that a few teams slip on some banana peels. I need a few teams to slip on some banana peels, and what I'm about to say is going to make it a bit hard because Week 16 starts with two of the teams that are ahead of us playing each other. The Saints and the Rams in a very pivotal game in that NFC playoff race. The good thing about this is one of those teams is going to lose, but of course, there's also a tie. If they tie, I don't know how I react. I usually like ties. This better not happen Thursday. So that's the Thursday night game. On we're also treated to more Saturday football. I do love Saturday football. I was so That's why I was so excited for week 15 because we got our first taste of Saturday football. But it's 2 games this week. It's the Steelers and the Bengals, and Pittsburgh needs this. They need this. If they lose this game, they can pretty much forget it. They can't. And and of course after that it's Peacock's first fully exclusive game, the Bills and the Chargers. I kind of said as a joke, the Bills won back-to-back games against these real good teams. Watch the Chargers beat them. That's how the Bills are. The Packers are in Charlotte to face the 2-12 Panthers. Yes, 2-12. They beat the Falcons 9-7. I still can't believe that happened. Speaking of Falcons, they're at home against the Colts. Seattle's in Nashville playing Tennessee. Um, Minnesota, who I also need to lose, they're facing Detroit. Detroit's trying to win a division title for the first time since '91. So I know. So we should have a losing team in the Thursday game. I also need the Falcons, the Vikings, the Seahawks to all lose. This may happen. I remember last year we needed like 1,000 things to go right, and they did. We just didn't win at the end. But we're also treated to a clash of Titans game between the Cowboys and Dolphins in the late window, and of course that's Christmas Eve. On Christmas Day, we got 3 games: Chiefs Raiders first, then the Eagles Giants, and then the Niners and the Ravens. Niners looking to get home field. So that's my recap of Week 15. If you like this video, quick like. For those who are on YouTube, can subscribe if you want more. For those on TikTok, feel free to hit that follow button. My stories on Vocal will be featured. Check them out when you can. And I will definitely be back tomorrow to map out the scenarios for Week 16. There's quite a few of them. A lot can be decided in Week 16. Because, hey, that's the Christmas week. So I'll be back tomorrow for that. So stay tuned.